All right, so here we have Benny's scores on his first three exams are 54, 68, and 54. What must Benny score on the next exam to average 61 for all four exams? Well, how do we find average? Well, we have to take basically our sum of all of the scores and then divide by the number there are. So we're going to basically say, okay, well, let's figure out what we're going to call this next exam. Maybe that's going to call it what would be a good thing. Let's call it N for next. Okay. So what are all the exam scores? Well, it's 54, 68, 54, and N. So we're going to take 54 plus 68 plus 54 plus N, and we're going to divide that by how many times did they take a test? Well, they took 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll divide it by 4. This will give us an average. And they say that average he wants to get is 61. So that's equal to 61. Okay. All right, so now how do we solve this one? Well, this one we have to go and we have to get rid of that 4 in the denominator first. So let's multiply both sides by 4. Okay, so when we take 4 here and basically divide by 4, those cancel. And so we have 54 plus 68 plus 54 plus n equals, now 61 times 4, let's check that out. 4 times 1, 4, 4 times 6, 24. So that's equal to 244. Well, now we need to get all of these and combine them. So that's just a bunch of additions. So we're going to take 54, 68, and 54. And we're going to add. Well, 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. So carry 1. Now I have 5 plus 5 is 10. And 6 plus 1 is 7. So that's going to give us 17. So this is actually n plus 176 equals 244. Well, now we just subtract 176 from both sides, and we get n is equal to what? Well, now we have to take 244 minus 176, and so that's not going to work, so that's a 1, that's a 13, and now 6 from 14, that gives us an 8, 7 from 13, that gives us a 6, so it looks like n is 68, okay? And so that's what the exam score number 4 has to be if they want to average a 61. Now, does that work? Well, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to plug in that 68 back in. So we're going to have to take and do this again, but let's add in 68 here. Let's say we've added it again. So 4 and 4 is 8, 8 and 8, 16. So that's a 6, carry 1. 5 and 5 is 10. And then 6 and then 1 is 7, so that's 17. So we're sure about that number. So let's go ahead and add 68 to that. Well, 6 and 8, that's going to be 14, carry 1. That's going to be 7 and 7, that's 14, carry 1, that's 2. So we have 244, so that looks good. So it's going to be 244 divided by 4. We say that's 61. Now, does that work? Well, let's take 4 into 244. Well, 4 goes into 24 6 times. That works. That's 24. Subtract, that's 0. Bring down our 4. 4 goes into 4 once. That's 4. Subtract, that's 0. So it says 61 equals 61. So it does check out. Okay. And so that is our next exam score we need to get that average of 61. All right, so now we have another one where we have some unknown number. So, unknown numbers, those are good to be calling x. So that's what we'll call that as x. And it says the number -6, so a -6 is 8 more than an unknown number. So an unknown number plus 8, okay? Well, now we just solve. So how do we do that? Well, we subtract 8 here, subtract 8 here. So x equals -14. All right. Well, that's what we say our answer is. Let's check it. So does -6 equal -14 plus 8? Well, we take the larger minus the smaller, so 14 minus 8. Well, that's going to give us a 6. The larger one had a negative, so -6 equals -6. That checks, so that looks good. All right, 4 more than 9 times an unknown number is 85. So again, we have an unknown number. Okay, well, let's call it this time, let's call it y, just to be different. So now we have 4 more than 9 times an unknown number. So we have to take 9 times that y, and 4 more than that. That number is 85. Okay, so 4 more than 9 times an unknown number is 85. So now we go backwards order. So first subtract 4. 9y equals 5 minus 4 is 1. 8 minus nothing is 8. Now we have to get rid of that 9. So that's multiply. So let's divide by 9 on both sides. So that cancels. We get y equals. Now 81 divided by 9, that's just 9. Okay, so that looks good. And so now we check. And so that's what we say our answer is. Now we say, well, what is 9 times 9 plus 4? Is that 85? Well, 9 times 9 again is 81, plus 4 is 85. And that 85 equals 85. Yes, it checks. So that is our answer. All right, so these are kind of the harder ones because you have to think about less than this, more than that, and so you have to kind of really pay attention. Let's do an unknown number z this time. So we want 4 less than 2 times an unknown number is 8. Okay, so an unknown number, 2 times that, so 2z. We want 4 less than that, so minus 4 is 8. Okay, so 4 less than 2 times an unknown number is 8. So it looks good for our setup. So now let's add 4 to both sides. So 2z equals 8 plus 4, that's 12. Now we multiply it here, so to divide it, we get back the other way. So z equals, well, 12 divided by 2 is 6. So that's what we say our solution is. Now let's check. So 2 times 6 minus 4 equals 8. 2 times 6 is 12. Minus 4 equals 8. Well, 12 minus 4, that's just 8, equals 8. And so it does check. Okay. So these are how we are working these. We just, again, you have to give that unknown variable letter, A, B, C, whatever. You know, I've been using X, Y, Z, N's, B's, all kinds of stuff. And then just write an equation based on the words and how they're written out. All right, so that's all I have for this section.